Okay, my friends, here it is. The Saturday morning live stream at the Garden Like a Viking headquarters. Zone 5/6. Maybe they'll change it to Zone 8. We don't know. Nobody knows. They don't even know. Real quick, we got to do the sound check. So let me know if you can hear the whisper. Oh, yeah. It's almost time to start the seeds. Did you guys hear it? What did I say? What did I say in the whisper? Because remember, I've gone whole live casts with a microphone not working, and nobody told me. So, okay, yes, okay, it sounds like you guys heard me. Okay, wonderful. What did I say during the whisper? Guys, yes, okay, thanks, Garth. Yeah, super good tea today. We've got the lavender flowers, okay, lavender flowers, and the jasmine flowers, which we didn't grow. We didn't grow the jasmine. We grew everything else. But the chamomile is the star of this show, of the tea show. The chamomile is the star of the show. If you guys haven't grown chamomile, this is the year that you grow chamomile. Oh yeah, see, wild mountain flowers and like a honey mixed with apple, mixed with happiness, you know, those kind of things. Yes, and guess what? So I'm kind of realizing it just now this year, this past 2 years, that chamomile is super cold hardy, down to like -20. So we got to like -7 this year, but the chamomile is still growing, and it's in a pot outside. Not growing and flowering, but it's alive. It's like this big, so it's overwintering. So that's what we got in our tea. We've got the jasmine flowers, the chamomile, and the lavender. So good. I gotta get this thing out of the way. Hold on. There we go. That's unacceptable. The plants go through a molt, guys. Your house plants, they go through twice a year molt, where they drop leaves that aren't really serving them anymore. Because it's very unnatural for house plants, for plants to be growing in a house, like in this type of environment. Very unnatural, but they can do it. So they can do it. So let's see who is here, guys. Let me go back up to what you guys were talking about. Plum Smart, hello, my friend. It's been a while since I've seen that name here. He says, howdy, y'all, from Ackworth, Georgia. I'm setting up inside seed starting shelves and lights. That's right. It's almost time. But guys, remember, what is the number one mistake people make when seed starting? What's the number one mistake? I want to see how many of you guys. I want to see what your answer is. What's by far the number one mistake people make when seed starting? Let's see here. So let me go back up. Harvesting Faith. Hello, my friend. I got your package, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. Harvesting Faith says, I'm running to meet my egg dealer for some farm fresh eggs. Might miss the first few minutes of the live. Oh, yeah, she's going to see the guy that's got the stuff. Yes. Well, get the good stuff. You want them nice dark yolks. Yeah, they got that solid feed. You don't want that feed that's been cut with anything nasty, right? So, let us see here. Okay, so we're getting some answers. We're getting some correct answers. Yes, look at all you guys, man. Experts already. Look at that. Okay, so we got, Val says overwatering. Now, that's a top runner. That's in the top 5, definitely. But starting too early. Terry Jude, yes, and Shawnee Chave says starting too early. Muddy Paws starting too early. Look, all you guys. Jenny Grubb, Garth, Deborah, Jody K, Teresa, Grant, everyone, Kim, starting too early. And why is this? Because we only want the plant to get established just enough so that it can defend itself against the outdoor environment. But remember, the longer it spends indoors, the harder the adjustment is going to be outdoors. So many people have already started seeds. Well, I got my tomatoes and I'm starting my peppers in tomorrow. I'm thinking, man, we are months away from starting planting out peppers and stuff. And so inevitably what happens is that they will have seedlings that are just kind of sick and just they have to nurse them along and just barely, and then they got all kinds of issues because then they hit me up and they're like, Nate, I got fungus gnats. What do I do about fungus gnats? Or I've got damping off, or I've got, they're starting to yellow. What can I fertilize them with? And all that stuff comes, one, from the environment not being set up correctly, but two, from starting too early. So you just want them enough to get established, and then think of it like a trajectory, which I'll explain. I'm going to do a video pretty soon on the top 5 seed starting mistakes. But you want that to be like, if you guys look at graphs, that show like plant growth versus time. You want it to be a nice even trajectory like this. You don't want them to sprout up and then go, hey, oh no, this is going to be a terrible life. And with too weak of lighting, with too much water, it got a direct hard breeze right on them, or not enough water, or the wrong nutrient solution, all that kind of stuff. You want them to just pop up, grow real nice, have everything that they need, and then you put them outside, and they'll go through an adjustment, but you want your lights to be right and all of that so that by the time you put them outside, they're not going to struggle that much, okay? So let me strain out the tea real quick so that I can commence with the sipping of the tea. Yes, which is my favorite part of the day. This wonderful set of silver plate that I got from Nancy, and it was her mother's, Helen. It was a wedding gift in 1961, and they really didn't use it at all. It's in mint condition, a whole set with the box and everything. Very cool. I love the silverware because silver is naturally antimicrobial, antiviral, antibacterial. Bacteria cannot survive on this. And so the old school people, they knew what they were doing, making silverware out of silver. Ooh, yeah, I got a little dollop of honey. Whatever measurement that is. Got a little dollop of honey in there. It's going to be really delicious. So, Pilar says, oh no, this is going to be a terrible life. LOL. Yeah, that's exactly what they think. Because the seed sprouts with such enthusiasm. It's full of hope and optimism for its life, thinking this is just going to be a great life. I'm going to yield so much, and these people are going to appreciate the gift of bounty that I give them, the gift of nourishment. I can't wait to be alive. Boom! And then it just sprouts up, and it's like, oh, wait a second. This lighting sucks. Oh, man, it's way too cold in here. Wait a second. It's way too windy in here. I thought this was going to be an easy life. And then, so you nurse it along, and then you put it outside, and it just roasts in the sun. It just goes, okay, this isn't going to work. And it just roasts in the sun, and now all of a sudden you've got dead plants, or you got plants that are so stunted they never come back. Now it is also true, of course, before I get the people saying, no, it's good to let the plants, overcome obstacles and stuff. And this is true. I know what you're talking about. And to a certain degree that works. So long as the plant has got the good start in the first 4 to 6 weeks of its life. Yeah? Think about that. If you know human psychology and stuff, the first 4 to 6 weeks of a plant's life is like the first 7 years of a child's life. Okay? Where they're absorbing the program that sets the tone for the rest of their life. And so it's the same with the plants, of course. The first couple months sets the tone for the rest of their life. Damari Hoover says, I screwed up with weak lights last year. Poor plants. Definitely, guys. Okay, so beyond starting too early, lighting, number 1 issue. Yes. Starting too early is always the issue, but lighting. So even if you are starting on time, the lighting is going to be the most important factor because Tree Brogy says, I would think when they sprouted and then they saw you, they would think otherwise. Yeah. They would go, oh no. Vikings don't grow plants. The reason that the light is the number 1 thing is because, contrary to popular belief, the only actual food, the only calories for a plant is sunlight. That's it. It doesn't matter the nutrients. The nutrients are more like a multivitamin. Think about you, okay? If we wanted to sustain our life, it doesn't matter if we're taking handfuls, buckets of multivitamins. If we don't have any calories or not enough actual calories, our life will not be sustained. It doesn't matter how many multivitamins, nutrients that you have. You understand? And so with the plants, it's very similar. The only actual calories is the light. That is what they use. And so that's most important, to get a good, intense, clean source of calories, just like with our body. Now, the nutrients are like multivitamins. You want to have enough multivitamins, but there's no need to be taking handfuls of multivitamins, because at a certain point it becomes toxic, right? It's the same with the plants. They need to have all the nutrients that they need, but they don't need an excess of it, because that's not going to do anything for their growth. Like if you want it to get big and strong, it doesn't matter if you take 10 handfuls of multivitamins, that's not going to make you any bigger or stronger. It's going to make you sick. So it's the same kind of thing, you see? The plants, remember guys, this is the philosophy. The plants and my body are one. The plants, the soil and my body are one. The soil and my body are literally one. We come from the soil. We are the soil rearranged, animated with the breath of life for some time, and then we return to the soil to become life again. This is how it's gone for unknowable amounts of time. Ooh, I like that one. Justin Millward says, Vikings grow legacies. That's right. Justin says, hello from gorgeous Vancouver Island, Canada. Would you use a full layer of seaweed filling up raised beds, hugelkultur style? It depends on it depends how thick that layer is. You want to go a little bit easy on seaweed. I mean, it's not like deciduous leaves where you can have a big 2 feet of it and it will just kind of compost down and become good. The seaweed is a process, so yes, definitely you can layer it in, but make it a thin layer, and also compost some of it into the liquid fertilizer. Seaweed liquid fertilizer is one of the greatest that there can be. Yeah. So that is how we used it when I was in Northern California. So the Harvesting Faith says, yay, glad you finally got my package. Yes, we will talk about that here in just a moment. Can't wait to show you guys what you guys have been sending me in the P.O. box. Thank you so much, guys. It's a wonderful thing. Yes, Scott Miller says, cucumber, tap roots, touch bottom of container, and stunt. Yes, there are several different kinds of plants that we don't really want to start inside. You can. So every time I say that, whenever I make a video or I say something, no, you don't want to start these particular plants inside. Everybody always comes up with the exception. They say, I started cucumbers inside and they're fine. They're fine. Well, okay, then never mind. Then never mind. No, the reason that I'm saying that is because your idea of fine and my idea of fine are totally different. I can guarantee that. So when I say fine, because you remember the school I come from, Northern California, high value crops, where it had to be perfect. You're competing with all kinds of other people growing also perfect high value crops. You got to be more perfect. So that's the school I was trained in. It was that kind of mentality. So you have to have the best. And so when they say, I started them indoors and they're fine. Okay, so you got to plant. So that means you got to plant and you got some harvest. So that's good. Good job. I mean, I'm not taking away from that. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about plants that are Jurassic. Plants that are thriving and healthy, disease-resistant, nutrient-dense produce that stores for a long time. Boatloads of produce per plant. That's what we're talking about. So if that's what you want, which is the goal, then you want to do it right, which means that you direct sow things like cucumbers and squash and corn and there's many others. But those will do best because they set down their roots. Hello, Grandma Zoo. They set down their roots like cucumbers, for example. A lot of people wonder why their cucumbers are not so bountiful. I say, okay, did you start them indoors? Well, yeah. Okay, that's number one. because plants like the cucumber, they will set their initial roots. They'll pop the 2 leaves above the surface, and then they will capture the sunlight, and they will sit there for what looks like an eternity while doing nothing. It looks like they're doing nothing for like 2 weeks after the squash or the cucumber sprouts. They'll just sit there with those 2 leaves looking like they're not doing anything for like a week to 2 weeks. But they are. What they're doing is taking the sunlight and establishing their root system. So I've dug them up before, and you can see with the little cucumber plant like that, massive root system like that, because it wants to see, okay, how big is the environment? How nutrient rich is this environment that we're in? And that signals to the plant how big it can get. That signals to the plant which genes to express and how intensely they're going to do that. And so when you plant them into a container and they go, and they hit the boundaries of the container, they're like, okay, well, we don't have much room. This isn't going to be a real bountiful life, so we just need to hurry up and make some seeds for the next season. Maybe they'll have a better chance at a better life. So that's what they do. They just hurry up and produce a few fruits, and then that's it, you know. But no, you want them to go boom, down, and you want them to say, oh, this is going to be a good run because we got tons of room, we got plenty of nutrients, the sun, the water, the air, the love, all that stuff we're getting in copious amounts. So then you will get just unbelievable harvest. Hello, Rachel, Successful Garden Design. Guys, check out her channel. She's garden designing in the UK. Are you still on the carnivore? I need to know, how is that working for you? So Teresa says, can I make a Jayam solution in a 60-degree garage? Watch my video. You're not going to have success with that. I just know this already. Watch my video on that. Get the aquarium heater, okay? It's in my Amazon storefront. There's a small one. I already picked it out for you guys, the one I use for the 5-gallon buckets. But if you wanted to brew a 55-gallon drum of the JMS, which you totally can do to add straight before planting, watch my video on that. Then you want to get the bigger one. And you want to set it ideally at like 72, 75 would be about, even 80. Really, if you set it at 80 and just let it go, that's going to be ideal. 60 degrees is just not really going to work. Ooh, yeah, listen to Zebra PT, says Nate, thank you so much for the tip about molasses and digestion. My gut has reacted very positively. Listen to that, guys. It's not just me saying it. This is also the personal experience of Zebra PT. And why is that the case? Why am I always promoting the use of pure unsulfur blackstrap molasses? So many reasons. So many reasons. The magnesium, one of the greatest sources of natural magnesium in here, is going to be very bioavailable. And that magnesium helps the parasystolic movements, of the intestines. And it also, in order to digest and assimilate molasses, because of its properties, it draws water into the stool. And so it softens the stool and eases the passing of everything. So the passing is more complete. Guys, you need to get the molasses in your life, definitely. And if you're concerned about sugar and spike in blood glucose and all that, you can rest assured this is actually helps to stabilize the blood sugar because of the chromium, I might be saying it wrong, chromium in it that helps to stabilize the glucose absorbing pathways in the body. So this is actually recommended for diabetics, yes? And me and Jenny have been pioneering a new way of doing the Master Cleanse. Not any different ingredients, just rearranging some of the stuff. She's on the Master Cleanse now, maybe day 8 or 10. She's going for like 30 days. And molasses is the foundation of this one. So guys, I can't recommend it highly enough. It will ease your digestive issues. I first learned about it years ago reading old school farmers' almanacs. There was a big stack of them in Northern California, the old ones. And you can get tips like this. They say, well, if you have a problem with digestion, 2 tablespoons of molasses in a cup of warm milk. Okay. And that's how I learned that kind of stuff. Terry Jude says, do you have a video on the Master Cleanse? Yes, absolutely. It is on my other channel, Thrive Like a Viking. It's one of the first videos I ever made, like 4 years ago. So please check it out. Scott Miller says, question, I'm tapping my sugar maple trees for the first time later today. Any suggestions? The suggestion, again, is timing. You want to make sure that it is freezing at nighttime and above freezing in the daytime. That's the perfect time to tap the trees because they run the sap up into the branches and the above ground part during the day when it's above freezing. But if it gets good and below freezing in the nighttime, it will send the sap back down into the root system. And that is when you want to tap it in there. Listen, Justin Millward, the debt of knowledge this man has, the Messiah of soil, the Messiah of soil, the guru of good living, and the Samaria of self-love and preservation. Well, thank you for the positive energy, my friend. Yes, he says, keep on being incredible to all of us. Absolutely, that is exactly what we're going to keep doing because we're just getting started. We're just getting started. You will see, guys, this whole enterprise will grow, and you guys will say, wow, I remember when he was in his little house way back when. So Garth says, I use that molasses in organic cane sugar to make my own brown sugar. This was the brown sugar of my childhood. Definitely real brown sugar, where you kind of mold it and it just stays there like a sandcastle. That's the kind that you want. Wayne Caroli says, what are the 5 things again? Yes, plants need 5 things: light, water, air, nutrients, and it all has to happen at the right temperature. Exactly. And these are, watch my seed starting masterclass, these are like an equation, guys, in the sense that any one of them can be the limiting factor. So if you don't have enough light, it doesn't matter if all the other things are spot on, it's not going to thrive. Likewise, if you have enough light and nutrients and water, but it's all at the wrong temperature, it's not going to thrive. So you have to understand this equation, and you have to be able to manipulate those 5 things. That's why the seed starting setup, you need to have control over those 5 things. It's not nearly as complicated as it might sound to the beginners. Watch my video, seed starting for beginners on a budget, if you're on a budget. And it will be like super cheap. And it will give you all the success that you need. But if you're into it deeper and you really want to tweak your stuff, you really want to get professional, my seed starting masterclass, you can see my setup. I've got a big tent, a grow tent that reflects the light and stuff. The kind of tents people used to use for other reasons. Well, we use it for legitimate seed starting. Jersey Girl says, question, what is the best molasses? Well, there's a link in the description in my Amazon storefront. I put the exact type that I use. It's the Golden Barrel. And over trying with many different kinds of stuff, the Golden Barrel is wonderful. Now, I get the 5-gallon organic, the 5-gallon tub of the organic. Now, it's not totally necessary to get the organic, but you want to. It's like double the price, though. But always get organic wherever possible. But the main thing is unsulfured blackstrap. That's what you want. The blackstrap is like the 3rd boiling, I think, 3rd or 4th boiling of it. And so most of the sugars, really, the easily accessible sugars are boiled off, are extracted because they're using it to make other things. What's left is this rich source of minerals. And as you guys will see, because this year we're doing the aerated compost teas, remember the videos and all that, molasses is a central pillar of that. Okay, so you might as well go to the links in the description and get the 5-gallon bucket. And if I don't have it there yet, right as soon as this is done, I will go and put it into the storefront. Because, that gives me a little bit of a kickback. So it's wonderful. Busy girl, hello. Says, my phone thinks it's Monday. LOL. Good morning, Nate. Yes, she's talking about the Thrive Like a Viking Monday at 10:30. So guys, you want to get the 5-gallon bucket of it because we're going to be using it, not in huge amounts, but it is the top source of food for the microbes in the aerated compost teas. And it also has all sorts of good minerals in it. All right. But now don't start putting it in all your other stuff. It doesn't work like that. We're using it specifically in the we're using it specifically in the aerated compost teas. Okay. And I don't think I've put them in the storefront yet, but these are the best little air pumps that I've used. Okay. They're the Vivo Sun. Now this one is for the 5-gallon bucket. It's it's heavy duty. It's not those little tiny junk ones that fall apart and the thing comes off and drains your fish tank out. These are really good. Now this one is for the 5-gallon bucket, but I have one that's like 3 times this size for the 55-gallon drum. So you'll have to gauge how much you're going to need for the season, but I suggest you get both air pumps. Yeah, because this is what's going to do it for our aerated compost teas, which will be pretty much, you guys are going to love it. If you're not accustomed to the proper aerated compost teas yet, you're going to love it because it has no smell, except smells like fresh bread. It's a wonderful smell. It's not, the main drawback of all the Jayam stuff is the putrid stench of death. Nobody likes that. Nobody wants to smell like that, and so that's what turns most people off of it. And so like when I was living in the mountains, it wasn't really a big deal. It was like, it's just the smell of homesteading. There's all kinds of gnarly smells. Some of them really horrible, some of them really wonderful, but it's just different because the open air and everything, and there's everybody else that's around is doing the same thing. But here in the city, people are not used to that. They don't understand the process. And so they smell that and they just think, oh my God, yeah, what are you doing? You got a dead body over there? No, it's fertilizer. It's food. Okay. It's going to become food. So just get over it, but they're not going to get over it. So you need to change the practices. And the aerated stuff, zero smell whatsoever. You're going to love it. Okay. So let's see what you guys are talking about. Charles Coker, you ever look into biodynamic farming, gardening? Yes, absolutely I have. And that's basically what we do. That's basically what we do. And once we get the land, you will see, I'm not going to call it biodynamic farming, but essentially it is. Every single input, everything. There will be no bought food for any of the animals, the chickens, or any of that kind of stuff. We will grow all of it ourselves. It will be a loop like this, and we will use the manures and all of that. So yeah, absolutely into it. Definitely. But remember, guys, my philosophy is no philosophy, really. It's not any one particular. It's not like we say, okay, no till, and that's a religion. That's the commandment. Thou shalt never till the soil. Or that, okay, biodynamic farming only, or regenerative, and all these different terms and stuff. We can a la carte from a lot of them. The only hard and fast thing is no man-made chemical fertilizers, things like this. Or if you are using things like Epsom salt, would be about as man-made as we want to get, which is still a natural kind of salt. You have to understand how to use them and what the mechanism is behind it and what is the best way to use it, all of that. VA Green says, move where there's no neighbors. That's for sure. We will be doing that again. Yeah. Guys, imagine. I was in the mountains for, 7 years on and off, but then 4 years like straight up. And that's like a lifetime when you're younger, and you get used to that lifestyle. You just get used to the lifestyle of mountain people and of just being free to just do whatever you want, and without even really thinking about it. And you got the animals and the land, and it's just incredible. And in Northern California, the streams were still crystal clear. I was drinking out of them and stuff. And so it's to go away from that and to come back into the city is such a culture shock. The hardest culture shock that I've ever been through. Way harder than leaving to go traveling for 10 years, for those years. If you guys haven't already, check out my Travel Like a Viking channel where I've started making things again. So the Taylor Reindl, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. Says just a tip. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Somebody... Big West says, people are starving for truth content. Truth is hard to take, but hard times are bringing out people looking to get her done. Yes, definitely. Andre Puskas says, hi, Nate. I have one concern about Jayam Liquid Fertilizer. Some white film was formed on the top about 1 month ago, and now it has turned to like brownish. Is it normal, or should I do something to disappear? Okay, that is a common question. And here is the answer, and you can take this one to the bank. If you make the Jayam liquid fertilizer in the proper way, meaning you put, depending on the type that you're making, you put the ingredients into the barrel, you add the leaf mold soil, yes, and then you fill it with the water, and you put the lid on. If you do it like that, anything that happens inside of that barrel is fair game. It's all good. There's going to be so many gnarly different things happen in there. A lot of times you'll see maggots all in there, soldier fly larvae if you're lucky, all different kinds of pinks and blues and green molds. All that stuff is perfectly fine. Because what's happening is that in the anaerobic, more anaerobic type ferments, then what is happening is that the bacteria, the molds, the microorganisms, they are consuming all of that stuff while there is food sources. And then once the food source is consumed, you will see all of that stuff will die down completely. And the microorganisms will mostly be dead. And it will be their byproduct, their bodies and the interaction between the two and the feces and all of that, that is going to be very plant available. And so for that reason, don't worry about anything that is happening in there. Pam, good to see you here. My friend says, what do you think of seaweed liquid, blood, and bone meal? My sister told me she uses them. My flame lilies didn't flower. She sent me a photo of hers. I am not sure if you should use them. You definitely can, yes. The liquids, it's going to be like a liquid kelp, definitely. That's going to have a lot of good minerals in it and stuff that the plant needs. Blood and bone. Now, blood has a high amount of nitrogen in it. So if you're trying to elicit blooms, that's not necessarily what it needs. The bone meal, definitely, but that can take some time to break down. So if you already have the flowers and you think that they're not getting enough of the things they need to flower, I would say make the banana hydrolysate and add that to it. And that's gonna be about as quick as it can get. 8A Gardening and Clay, good to see you, my friend. Donald Hughes says, is 3,500K lights good for sprouting seeds? 3,500 is acceptable. It's acceptable. That's a little on the warm side, though. Ideally, 3,500 will work, definitely. But the 42, 45, 47, or if you can find the ones now, they come out 6,500, which that's like the old school T5s or the T8s, that you used to have to get the big light fixture and it was all expensive and the T5s were constantly burning out and stuff. That's of the past. Now it's all LEDs and super easy, super cheap, energy efficient. You don't have to worry about busted bulbs all over the place and the white powder and everything like that. So if you're going to purchase, if you already have those lights, go ahead and use them. But if you're going to purchase new ones, look for a higher K. Yeah. They make them now. I got it from Menards that you can adjust between like 2,700, 45, and 65. And I think I showed you guys a few weeks ago the difference. So you want it as like blue as possible. 65 is like daylight spectrum. And so that really is ideal. Sharon says, Nate, remind me, if you get a little white mold on your fermented kraut, is it still okay? Generally, yes. Now, don't, hold me to that, like in a legal sense, but I mean, for me personally, if my kraut has just some of the white film on top, that is just the yeast bloom, and that is not like a mold. That is not like going to be detrimental. So if you're really in doubt, you can put pictures in the Discord chat and tag me. You have to mention me, because otherwise I won't know to see it. So you have to mention me. If you guys want my attention in the Discord, you have to mention me in it. And so then I can tell you for sure. But if it's just a little bit of the white fuzzy stuff on, the little white, looks almost like mushroom mycelium, not really fuzzy, but yeah, and it's bright white, that will be fine. Definitely. Rachel says, Successful Garden Design says, smell the sauerkraut. If it smells acidic, it's okay. If it smells like vomit, sling it. Yeah, definitely, for sure. To me, that just goes without saying, actually. But yes, if it smells off, immediately, it's off. Then immediately. You probably will have to add more salt next time. Whoa, Mr. Miles says, I found some 6,500 floodlights on eBay, 4-pack for $20. Wow. Now, ideally for seed starting, they're going to be in the long, they're going to be long like that. But anyways, Scott Miller says, question, what do you think about the fermentation mason jar lids with air locks? Yeah, those can be good. I don't really use those, though, because it's just like another thing, another gadget to fiddle with and stuff, and it's just not really necessary in my experience. Fermentation weights with these lids are everything you need, because these lids are not even remotely close to being airtight. I hope that you know that. Not even remotely close. So, yeah. This weird... Ooh, boy, I can smell that capsicum. Wow. That is a strong pepper smell. These are the Tabasco peppers, which I know I've said this for several weeks in a row, but very soon we're going to add equal parts of vinegar to this, blend it up, and more salt. And we're going to make a really good Tabasco sauce. So, Pop Herm says, it's almost spring. Can't wait. I love you. Yes, I love you too, Pop Herm. Dono the Mono, aquarium lights. You're welcome. Yes, aquarium lights, definitely. Okay, Scott Miller says, got some for Christmas. Yeah, not a problem. Use it. Use them, definitely. If they got the springs and stuff, then that just keeps, that's doing what the fermentation weight is doing. So absolutely, if you've got them, they're wonderful to use. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, Mick Hegarty says, hand juicing my winter wheatgrass while I'm watching. Definitely the wheatgrass train, guys. It's wonderful. Big Wheel Dog says, Nate, I tend to keep small compost piles that have added bone, blood meal, and dried kelp for emergency plant revival. Worth the time? Yes. That depends on... That depends. Usually, if you need an emergency thing, it's usually better in liquid form, because all microorganisms, all the soil microorganisms are really aquatic, actually. They function on the microscopic layer of water that exists. Even in what appears to be dry soil, there's still a microscopic layer of water, and that's where the microorganisms really flourish. And so that is why the liquid fertilizers digest and make plant available, or more plant available, not exactly, the nutrients so much faster. It just said reconnecting for some reason. What is happening? What is happening? That's not good. I notice a bunch of things are different about the YouTube live platform at this moment, so I'm not sure what is happening. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, we are back now. Broderick Hooker says, so can I safely transport Jayam in a closed container without harming the microbes? I have a plot about a mile from home. Yes, you can, definitely. Now, I imagine you're talking about the liquid fertilizers. The liquid fertilizers, no problem. Even the microbial solution, once it's brewed and you're able to tell when the peak is, this is why we don't move it while it's brewing, because we have to use that foam layer as the key to tell us when it is ready. But once it's ready, then you can put the lid on it and take it in the car and it can get sloshed around. That won't matter at all. No, the microorganisms are way more hardy than that. But the thing is, remember guys, you want to do it right at the right time, because the microorganisms are growing exponentially. They are growing, doubling their population every 20 minutes. And so if you guys know anything about exponential graphs, you will know that a little bit happens, little bit happens, little bit happens, but then all of a sudden, wham, it starts happening really fast, the quickening. And that is what happens. And so how many more doublings can they go before they consume all the food source? Well, not that many. So just a couple of hour window. Yeah. Once you introduce them into the soil though, then well, we don't know exactly how many, but a lot of them take hold into the environment because they will find new food sources. It's all a numbers game. Billions and billions and billions of these microorganisms, these little beings. Yes, Wayne Caroli says, another tidbit of knowledge that is so obvious. I hear the ring of truth when you say it. It is all aquatic. Yes, it is. It really is. And so, for that reason, when we do them in the liquid form, okay, that was getting back to the question of Big Will Dog about is it a good thing to have all of that in a compost pile ready to go? That can be okay, but you also have to understand the dry fertilizer stuff, like the bone meal and the blood meal and the kelp, those are very concentrated, and those are designed to be used quickly. And so they will, the blood meal especially is available within days, within just a few days. If you just, liquid, if you make a tea out of it, or if you sprinkle it around, water it in, that's available in just a few days because of how much nitrogen there is. And it's so easily digestible by the soil microbes to then become plant available. Because remember, no amount of blood meal or bone meal or liquid kelp, none of that can directly be absorbed by the plant. All of it still has to pass through the soil food web first. But some ingredients can pass much faster than other ingredients. So for example, phosphate rock, that's a long-term thing. And that's in the Viking granular nutrients, of course, but it starts to become available right away, or within a couple weeks, but then it releases for several years, as opposed to alfalfa meal or something that is available right away, but then after about a month, 2 months at most, it's all used up. And so the similar with the blood meal and the kelp and stuff. Bone meal is a bit different, a little bit longer, but within 3 months, all of those nutrients are going to be used up already. And so you really don't, if it's more than like a couple months old, then it's, you don't really, it cooked too long. We call that cooking. When you're growing indoors, like if you want to grow living soil indoors, you have to cook it first, which is essentially just composting it all for a certain amount of time before you bring it indoors. So it's more plant available. Wayne Caroli says, okay, Carl Sagan. Oh, yeah, that's a heck of a compliment there. If you're talking about me, I don't know, but Garth, microbes increase as fast as inflation. Oh, look. Yeah, exactly. super fast. Guys, we are actually in the quickening I mean, if you want to talk about, this is stuff more for Thrive Like a Viking channel though, but we are in the quickening of everything, and we are living in an unbelievable time in human history, unlike any other for sure, because of how every thing about our society is in the quickening part of the graph of the exponential growth. Think of the world population even. It took 250,000 years, some say 2.5 million years, to reach 1 billion people. Okay? It took 250,000 or a million years. Did I say billion? Yeah. To reach 1 billion people, okay, on the planet. But then the second billion only took, this may be a little bit off, but not much, only took 100 years. Then the third billion only took 50 years. The fourth billion took 20 years. The fifth billion took 10 years. And now all of a sudden we're in a sixth and seventh and eighth billion within just a handful of years. And so that's what we're talking about, the quickening. And the quickening happens in an exponential system at the end. That's important to understand. It happens at the end. So we have to understand the times we are living in, guys. Mind-blowing. And I just observed this from the 10 years of just traveling in the world and seeing the scale of the human endeavor. It defies comprehension. Defies comprehension. The scale, the magnitude of the human enterprise. So, Dano the Mono says, Tribe Viking channel? Based Viking, bro. What's based mean? Yeah, the Thrive Like a Viking channel. And also the Travel Like a Viking channel. I put a link in the description right underneath this video to my latest Travel Like a Viking video. We are currently in Vietnam, going through the Cu Chi tunnels of Vietnam. And a crazy experience. This was, 13, 15 years ago, something like that. So I describe it. I show pictures. It's entertaining. So you can check it out. Claire Aylward. Where's that last name from? Says, new subscriber here. I would say you are like Carl Sagan. I garden with living soil. Got your contact from a great cannabis grower in the Welcome to the Grow Tent Discord community. Wow, nice. I wonder who that is. Wonder who that was. But, well, I'm glad you are here, Claire. And let us know if you have questions on things. Check out all the videos and stuff. Let us know if you have questions. Maybe there's a video I can make that has yet to be made. So, Alex Forige. Hi, Nate. Good morning. This is Alex from California. What's the difference between rock phosphate and soft rock phosphate, or is there any different? Not that I'm aware of. I don't. I mean, some people may classify it, but rock phosphate, there's different kinds. I think it's all soft rock phosphate. Although I could not be so true with that. But when I use it, when I make fertilizer mixes for that kind of growing, it's just rock phosphate. You want to try and get the smallest granules that you can. Now, that being said, I can't say for sure that, but I know that I've used them interchangeably. So, Mr. Miles says, have you heard the World Economic Forum types are starting to target home gardens, saying they're bad for the environment? We've got a battle coming. Yeah, I have heard that, guys. And you'll see the headline that home gardening is 5 times the carbon footprint as conventionally produced stuff. Because of course the problem is you, of course, your tiny little home garden. That's the problem, of course. But here's the thing, guys. I don't really care what they say. I don't care what kind of regulation they're talking about. I'm going to grow. It doesn't matter. I mean, I was in Northern California growing outside of the rules for some time anyways. So whatever rules you're going to put into growing on a home garden, I'm just going to disregard. So, and hopefully you will all do, well, I don't want to say that, but you get what I'm saying. I don't care what kind of laws they come out with against a home garden, because watch me grow. That's, nobody's going to keep that from happening. That's exactly, we've been doing that for thousands of years. And there's nothing more human than growing food, animal husbandry, having a deep connection with your food. But the only people that would listen to that and say, oh no, there's a new law says we can't have a home garden. What? So, right, Jersey Girl says, don't register your garden like they want you to. Yeah, register your garden. Frank says, you can make an argument with home gardening that uses commercial fertilizer. Well, absolutely, actually. And as far as carbon footprint, I mean, I don't pay that much attention to that, but as far as carbon footprint, I could see what they mean by that, because so many gardeners want to just go over the top with the things that they buy. They make 40 trips to the store, and they buy all these things, all this stuff. And so, okay, per given tomato, that could be true, but that's just not what it's. I even still seriously have my doubts. You mean to tell me that this mango coming from Guatemala in December is less of a carbon footprint than the tomato I grew 10 feet away from where I'm sitting? That doesn't make any sense. In soil that is alive and organic, and all I've had to do is walk around and gather leaves from the neighborhood and the piles and stuff. So no, that doesn't really compute, but we just have to remember, guys, 2 + 2 will always equal 4. It never can equal 5 in any way. So just remember that. Yeah, Dono the Mono said if they grow the food, they can add genes to it or whatever they want. Well, definitely, and it can be privatized. So that's but that reminds me of a thing that I've gotten this question already from many people about GMO seeds. How do you make sure that your seeds are GMO free? Now, I do want to say this. In the home garden, there is 0 chance that you're going to get a GMO seed. Pretty much 0. The only things now hybrids are different than GMO. Remember that, right? GMO, you actually have to sign up for. You have to get permits. You have to have a certain seed count, so many acres. They want to see your growing plan. They own your place when there's a GMO seed. They own you, okay? So you're not just going to randomly walk into the store and accidentally buy some GMO seeds. So hybrid is totally different, okay? Alex Forage, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, thank you, Nate. I appreciate all the knowledge, man. It's priceless. Thanks again from Big Al from California. Yes, Big Al. Yes, my friend. I used to know a Big Al in Northern California. Haven't talked to him in years. I often wonder how they're doing. Let's see here. Okay, so guys, P.O. Box gifts. Thank you, Scott. So guys, the P.O. Box, there's a P.O. Box. You can put the link in the link is in the description. Go ahead and check it out. And if you want to send me something. So somebody sent me this book, Conversations with God. There's a letter. I know who did it, but and so, because they want me to check it out and give my opinion on it. Now, this will be on the Monday Thrivecast after we finish the Power of Now. And that's what we're doing every week until it's finished. Chapter 4 of the Power of Now, Monday. So have it read and have a question ready. But this book, Conversations with God, they want me to read it. And immediately, as soon as I held this book, I felt it's the right way to go. I felt like it's the high energy. I could just tell immediately. And so I just opened it, read a couple of things that, okay, this is going to be fantastic. So we are probably going to talk about selected things from this on the Monday channel. So thank you very much. Now, this from Harvesting Faith Homestead. Look at this. She sent me some dehydrated of her sourdough starter, because I asked for this because my brother is getting into making sourdough. All right. And so this is going to be awesome. And she sent me how to activate the dry starter and stuff. So this is super great, guys. I mean, the best possible way to receive something like this is a gift. And here we are. So I can't wait to rehydrate it, follow these instructions, and my brother's going to be making some of that good sourdough, and it's going to live on, and then I'm sure I'll be giving it to a bunch of other people. So thank you very much, my friend. Now, I see a couple of you asking about who wrote this one. Nayli, it might be Neil or Nayli Donald Walsh. There you go. And so it's going to be a great read. I can tell already. So we won't read the whole thing on the Thrive channel, but we will talk about it. Definitely. Now, look, guys, another Rachel Matthews sent me. This is her book. She wrote. Look at this, guys. Awesome. Because she said, I'm so excited that you're... Let's see. Hi, Nate. So pleased you started up on your Travel Like a Viking adventures again on YouTube. Thought I'd share mine with you. Not quite as adventurous as yours, but may make you smile. From Rachel. Thank you. Because this will make me smile. I mean, it already has made me smile. So super cool. Can't wait to get into that. Thank you very much. Guys, I got a number of different things I'm not going to show. But look, Christmas card. You know, this was a while back, but Christmas card, and said, Merry Christmas, Nate, with a tip, and said, Elizabeth. Then she put in parentheses, one of your subs, as if I don't know who Elizabeth is. Always sending me sweet, thoughtful things. Thank you. So, guys, that's just a little glimpse of the generosity of people, you know. People are sending me stuff, and that's super cool. An energy exchange, yes? So, it's wonderful. You can send me whatever you want. So, Mr. Miles says, Indiana is generally humid, right? It'll be a struggle to make sourdough in humid environments. Not necessarily. Scott Murray, thanks, Dad. Says, can't wait for your book. Definitely, me too. It's going to be really good to hold it like this. And then once the book is out, then you don't have something that can be taken away. You know, something that can't get canceled, or, you know, the book is out there then, and that's important. So, yeah, looking forward to that. But thank you, Scott Murray. Is that how you say that last name, Murray? So, let's see, a couple of other things, guys. That, look, these are ground cherries from last season that I just picked, put into this bowl, and just let them sit in the basement. And some of them are nice and super dehydrated, but some of them are still totally plump. I don't even know how, because these are for seeds. The ground cherries were so delicious, guys. Look at this. I mean, this has been like 4 months at least, you know, and it's still hard. I mean, should I do it? Okay. I mean, guys, it's edible. It's not very flavorful. You know, it's not very flavorful, but it's not about eating them. It's about saving the seeds. So now we've got all of these that have saved the seeds from. So awesome. Very simple. If you guys haven't got onto the ground cherry train, it's one of the only annual type vegetable things that you can grow in the annuals garden that will yield what tastes like a tropical fruit. Yeah, these taste like tropical fruit, pineapple kind of. And so, yes, I recommend that you grow the ground cherries, and but you have to wait for them to ripen and fall to the ground. And that's when you know. Then you go out there and you take these and you eat them kind of like it's in the tomato family, but it's just wonderful because there's not that many things you can grow in the annual vegetable garden that is sweet. But these are sweet, like a tropical thing. Yeah, CyberCert says the end of season ground cherries are not as good as the summer ones. Not enough sunlight hours. Yeah, the peak ground cherries. Oh yeah, super good. Jennifer Walters says ground cherries. Can I grow them in zone 6B? Yes, I'm in zone 6B or 5B 6A. But yeah, you can definitely grow them. No doubt. You grow them basically just like you do a tomato. They're heat loving. Yeah. Ooh, Mom Computer, good to see you here, my friend. Says sourdough makes wonderful pizza crust. Oh yeah. Busy Girl, what's a ground cherry? It's yeah, like I just described. It's in the tomato family. It's like a tomatillo except sweet. Um, Jason Hetty says, Nate, you can use your Kasori dehydrator and dehydrate the starter after you get it going, so you'll always have it around. Nice. I will have to look into how to do this. I assume you just pour it onto a tray and let it dehydrate? Yes? Mm-hmm. So let us see here, guys. Herbs. Now, you want to grow plenty of herbs, and this is how I store them, okay? This is my favorite way to store them because you just hang them upside down. Here is sage, and I have these hanging all on some strings and stuff, just hanging in the house, and they dehydrate and they keep all winter. And I will just pluck some off and put it into the stews or the bone broth that I'm going to make today. And so, yes, this is a good way to do it. Also, the summer savory. I tie these upside down. I got summer savory. And I can just put this whole thing into the bone broth or a stew if you're making. I got like a dozen of these bundles. And I got the huge rosemary plant, which I actually am overwintering the rosemary plant, which I might set back outside now because rosemary is very hardy. Well, not very, but down to like 10 degrees. So we don't have any of that coming anytime soon. I brought it in and put it in the grow tent. It's still alive. So that would be really cool. I might put it back outside. But Mr. Miles says, is there a difference in taste between winter savory and summer savory? Well, maybe you're being facetious, but do you mean the dried savory? Because dried savory, yeah, there's a little bit of different taste, of course, as all dried herbs. But I've still got thyme. I've still got a bunch of thyme out there, and oregano that is still growing on the ground. The sage plants are still hanging on. So, yeah, we still got all that. Garth says, my rosemary is about 15 years old. Where is it? How? You're in Canada, right? So what kind of rosemary? Or do you bring it in like that every year? Jennifer Walters says, thank you. The tomatillos did amazing last summer, so if they are similar, I'm there. Yes, they are similar, yes. Except sweet and delicious. Harvesting Faith says, that's what I did. Dehydrate it on the lowest temp possible, or you can just spread it on parchment and let it air dry. Also important to powder it as fine as possible. Otherwise, it's more challenging. Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Miles says, not being facetious. I've never used savory of either type. It's a new herb for my kitchen. Okay, yeah, I don't think that there is winter savory. I think it's just called summer savory for some reason. I'm not sure why. But, well, because it's not at all cold hardy. But it's very delicious. It's like a combination between thyme and oregano, but with a different kind of earthiness to it. I use it all summer long. It's what I love is how prolific it is. And so I use it all summer long. Maybe that's why, because it grows really fast and prolific during the summertime. But then it's kind of hard to dry, and it doesn't. The actual flavor of the dried is nowhere near as intense and complex as the fresh, and so it's best eaten fresh. Whereas like rosemary or sage, those are fine, almost the same dried. You know what I mean? Okay, says he's seen seeds for winter savory. Yeah, I don't know about that. Possibly. Oh, okay. Garth says there is winter savory. I've never heard of it. There we go. Always learning something new. So Garth says rosemary is in a pot and moved in and out. Now that I have a greenhouse, it lives in there. Nice. Yes. Yes. Ooh, yeah. Frank, that's a good idea. Rosemary cuttings are easy to root. I should do that just in case. That way we don't got to go and buy another plant. Rosemary is one of the few things I buy each year. I have been because they obviously die. So the let's see here. Okay, what else? Now, guys, some things that you want to do. Okay, for this upcoming season, you want to let me get a drink of water. For this upcoming season, Good Mother Stallard beans. Okay, super delicious. But the reason I'm not growing them this coming year is because they don't run through the pea and bean sheller. They don't run through the pea and bean sheller, and I've got the Taylor Manufacturing pea and bean sheller, and it is an absolute game changer. You can't even, if you're trying to actually eat beans as like a staple, then shelling them by hand is just not going to work. Not if you got like a full-time life and stuff. Nothing against people. If you'd love shelling them by hand, that's totally great. And a lot of people, it's a family thing. And they might have a couple meals throughout the winter of dried beans that way. But if you're talking about getting like a substantial amount, like a 5-gallon bucket every winter, you need this pea and bean sheller. But really, it's an industrial thing. So only one person out of the clan, the community, needs to have one, and people can use it. But Good Mother Stallards don't run through the pea and bean sheller, but rattlesnake pole beans sure do, and so do some of the many others. So does the purple hull, pink-eyed purple hull peas, which is basically black-eyed peas in a way. But if you guys are in the hotness, like the South, these things grow no problem in the heat. And they were loving life. So they're good to eat fresh, but also they go through the pea and bean sheller so easy because they're like this long and they have like 10 or 15 of these little peas in it and just run it right through. It's wonderful. So I highly recommend that. Purple hull peas. And Good Mother Stallard, if you're going to do them by hand or the pillowcase method, or if you've got some other kind of clever method, let me know. Put it in the Discord so that I can see it and do it myself. So let us see here. Another thing is guys, if you are looking for a wonderful, because this year is upcoming stir fry season, which I love stir fries, absolutely. Make them all summer long with all different kinds of stuff. The links are in the description in my Amazon storefront to the wok that I use and the utensils. I really like it. It's pure steel. There's no coating. There's no gnarly chemicals. But look, here is the ultimate knife. This is what I have been using, and I keep it in this box here so that it doesn't get messed up. But it's like a Chinese chef's knife, basically. Super thin, you see? But it's nice and big so that you can put them hands right there as a guide and chomp, 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 like this. And you're not going to be getting the hands caught or anything like that, the hands cut. So this, I put a link in the Amazon storefront. This is the best one for the money. It was like $50 or something, and that's nothing. I mean, you can get hundreds and hundreds of dollars in these knives, but this one's really good, and it resharpens really well. It is razor sharp. So it's got the good beehive kind of handle, and I love using this thing, even for meat and stuff. And just boom, even when it's like half frozen, I can just boom, cut right through it. And the Chinese chef's knife is, you see how thin it is? It's wonderful at most things. Not like shaving, not like skinning or something like that, but we have other utensils for that. But this is like the chef's knife for Oriental cooking. Comes in this nice box, you know. And it is a carbon steel, definitely. Yes. Tree rogi. Let's see. What is the question? Everyone's talking about tree rogi. What is the thing? Masabi Gal says, I love dried rattlesnake beans. Can you run them through a sheller? Absolutely. Rattlesnakes run through a sheller, no problem. Yeah? Yes. They run through the pea and bean sheller. And so I made a short like last fall when I was down in Tennessee of operating the pea and bean sheller. So check that out. So okay, Val says, hey Nate, can you suggest a high yield dry bean for smaller gardens? Well, it depends. For smaller gardens, really pole beans are going to be great because you can go vertical. And so pole beans are going to be your friend, definitely. But if you are, yeah, I would say rattlesnake pole beans. Rattlesnakes, because they are the classic, you can eat them as green beans when they're young and fresh, and they have like a nutty flavor. They taste like maybe an almond or some kind. It's a wonderful flavor, really different than most green beans. So when they're nice and thin, you can eat them young, or you can let them grow all the way and become dried beans. And the thing is that when you pick them for green beans in the early summer, that's going to signal to the plant, oh no, we're under attack. We need to multiply our chances for procreation. And so we better put out a lot more stuff. And so you really want to pick them heavy for the first, month of their life, and then let them go. And then they're just going to produce boatloads. And you can just let them go, let them dry, and then pick them off, run them through the sheller, and they're like a pinto bean, except much more flavorful. Dav, $5. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate the support. And so, Yvonne Hagen, I'm new here. What zone are you in? I'm in northern Indiana, zone 5/6. And so the bean that I would say, but if you're looking for a bush bean, then you need to do something that's very compact. So like the dragon tongue bean, that can be very good. And you can eat it both as a green bean and as a dried bean. So that's if for a small garden, you have to go for the beans that you can have both, green bean and dried bean. So they're not necessarily exclusive, but a lot of them, like the Good Mother Stollard, you cannot eat that as a green bean. That's only a dried bean. And there's many beans like that because the outside is too fibrous. I mean, maybe some people will eat it, but it's not pleasant. So, Nadine Hope says, what does the copper cup do? Copper is similar to silver in its antimicrobial and antiviral properties. So that is why like your copper pipes in your house for water, because when water sits in it for a long time, this cup is always full of water. And so when water sits in it for a long time, nothing can grow. No microbial things can grow on the surface of this. And it's a good source of copper. Mr. Miles says, do you grow any stevia? No, I do not. I don't like that kind of trickery, that kind of sorcery to the taste buds. Let's see. Charles says, get you a length of 1/4-inch tubing to protect the edge of the knife. That's a good idea. Definitely. It's a good idea. But I almost, because other people are in the kitchen a lot too and stuff, and nobody is as respectful of knives as I am that I've seen so far. Everybody just wants to, like Jenny and stuff, and other people will just kind of put the knife over there, and it gets pressed up against a piece of metal, and I'm just like having an aneurysm. I mean, not really, but I'm like, okay, that's can't happen to this knife. So I will make sure I only remove it from its sheath when it's going to be used, and then I will put it back into its sheath. It's not just going to sit there like the other knives. Frank says, is that chef's knife good for slicing bread? Man, it can slice anything. It is so sharp you can shave with it. It is unbelievably sharp. So yes, you can anything with it. So Lita Knows says, can white bed sheets be used as shade cloth? That would be too much shade. I mean, you could definitely, like, for part of the day. If you had, like, for your plants and stuff, your seeds or your seedlings that you're starting up, if you position it in such a way that that they'll get some full sun, but then it will come over in the hottest part of the day will be under the white sheet, then yes, that will work. Whoa, Spinster Mountain says, planning on making my own tofu from beans I grow, no soy. Rattlesnake good for this too? ? I've heard fava and garbanzo work. Now, I've made tofu from homegrown soybeans. Non-GMO, of course, the old school way, the way they've been doing it for thousands of years in the Orient, and it worked really well. But I've never used any other kind of bean, so I don't know. That's actually the first I've even thought of doing that. Dirtboy Prep 58 says, listening to you got me motivated to do a seed inventory for the upcoming season. Thanks. Very welcome. That's right, guys. It's coming. It's coming. It's not here yet, but it's coming. And so you want to get your stuff in line. All right? That's what you got to do. Now, look. Stuff in line means you want to get the air pump for the, and I'll put it in the Amazon storefront, for brewing the aerated compost teas. Okay. Yes, we are venturing off of what we've been doing, but this works wonderful. The aerated compost teas are a phenomenal thing. We use those for many years in Northern California with great success. And the next thing you want to do is get you the proper trays. Now, you can use those flimsy little tomato trays that you get from the store that break all the time, but these are in the Amazon storefront, and they are from Bootstrap Farmer. Really heavy duty. These last many years. So get you some with the holes in it and some without the holes. And this will be for starting up different things. So you want to get the seeds ready, or the trays ready. You also want to get your environment gauge ready. So this is very important. This is way more important than most people think, because if you don't have this, then once you start having issues, you're not going to understand, okay, because the first thing I will ask is, all right, what's the temperature and humidity? That's the first thing. What's the temperature and humidity? Is the lights on a timer? You know, things like this. Do you have a heat mat? What's the heat mat set at? Because you have to know what it's set at in relation to the ambient air temperature. It has to be warmer than the ambient air temperature. That's how the plant knows, okay, this is the soil. So yeah, you want to get this as well, something like this. Mick, $20. Thank you very much, my friend. Little cartoon says, thanks for being you. Oh, well, you're welcome. Thank you very much for the support. Paperm says, I have a crippling addiction to buying seeds. Oh yeah. Well, you can rest assured there are worse addictions to have than that. But check this out, guys. Here is an Indiana giant coxcomb. And it's faded a little bit because it sits in the sunlight. But look at this. They dry like this. You just cut them and hang them upside down. When they are in their growing season, they are gorgeous. I mean, just a scarlet crimson, sort of just incredible. Everybody comments on these. When they come and they see these things, and they're just covered in bees and stuff. Everyone's like, what is that? And this is a coxcomb. You see how it's supposed to be from a rooster, the comb? But this specific strain is called Indiana Giant, and it was perfected by the Amish over many generations. And so it only gets about 2 feet tall, and then it produces this, just one flower head per plant and some little green leaves that are edible, although I've not eaten them because I have so many other things to eat. And then they make these dried flowers, guys. The beautiful dried flowers. And the pollinators love them. In particular, carpenter bees, which are the native bees around here. Carpenter bees just love these things. Every time I go outside in the summertime, there's carpenter bees on this plant. Now, if you have to, yes, you can use something like this is fine as well. But this is just a humidity gauge. There's some of them have a little temperature here. The analog ones are fine as well. Or you can go way overboard and get the CO2 one with the temperature, humidity, CO2. It's got a dead battery right now, but this works really nice. I use this for the mushrooms to know if there's a buildup of CO2. Yes, Mr. Miles says, that flower makes me think of a Roman helmet more than a rooster. Yeah, maybe we could call it the Legion flower, Legionnaire's flower. Muddy Paws says, if I found your channel 3 years ago, it would have saved me so much stress and heartache. Ooh, yes, but that wasn't an option because we are only going into our 2nd year here on this channel. We just started it the February before last. Yes. Dano the Mono says, why are Indiana people so cool? I know. It's hard to understand. Well, it is true that the people from the Midwest area are just different kind of, a slightly different kind of culture. When I was in Northern California, people from the Midwest, like Indiana and Michigan and stuff, were highly sought after because we worked. As opposed to the people that were born and raised there in the soft little mountains of Northern California, were just soft. I'm sorry, just soft. And so they really liked the Indiana guys, definitely, because we got stuff done. We just got it done. We didn't complain about the environment. None of that stuff mattered. We were just out there and just hitting it. So, the Charles Coker says, when do you use anaerobic compost tea and aerobic compost tea? Well, they don't have to be mutually exclusive, and really, if we want to label it, we'll say that the best way to utilize the JMS is pre-season, 5 applications, full strength. Full strength, 5 applications. Now, you can do the same with an aerated compost tea as well. It's just a lot more work, sort of, and more infrastructure and stuff like that. But no, I used to brew, when I was getting this soil whipped into shape, I would brew 55-gallon drums of JMS with an aquarium heater in there. And then I would put my sub pump, when it was at its peak, it was in the basement. And I would put the sub pump in there with the hose running all the way out into the garden. And I would just douse the garden with full strength JMS in the early spring before any of the plants were in the ground, as it was raining, always as it was raining, because that would carry it deeper down. And I would just soak that stuff. And that really helps to get this whipped into shape. I mean, you'll see mycelium all over the place in the garden after you're doing that, because that's very beneficial. And the JDOM way of doing it does preserve a lot more of the fungi than the aerated compost teas do. And so the aerated teas are more for when we have plants in the ground, because we can just confidently spray the aerated tea all over the plant. Yes, and it's not a problem. We dilute it to about 1 to 5, 1 to 10, and the plants love that kind of treatment. All right. Mm-hmm. So yes, Big Will Dog says, us Indiana peeps have that Hoosier hospitality. Definitely. Definitely. And if you guys, and this is nothing against you guys if you're in Northern California, okay? But this is just my observation from traveling all over the world and stuff, that Northern California produces the softest people in the world. It really does. I mean, I'm talking the people born and raised, multi-generation people there. So I just said what I said. And so Mr. Miles says, I live in Southern California and I have no praises to sing about our people. Yeah, see, I don't have enough experience with SoCal to know, but I've got deep experience with NorCal. Pop Herm says, second year and almost 150,000 subs. Super impressive. You deserve it. I'm still at 120-ish, even though I don't post besides random shorts. Let's see. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I haven't checked out your channel. I didn't know you had a channel. I will check it out. But that's the thing. Stay consistent. And the thing that I do is because of the nature of this type of videos, not these long form, the live streams, but the nature of gardening type videos, that people want to know something and you have to deliver it to them in a way that is not like full of a bunch of nonsensical stuff that doesn't pertain to the point. I feel like that's what sets my channel apart. At least I feel that way, is that a lot of other channels will just kind of, okay, so today we're going to do that, and then I'm going to go to the store, and my grandma told me when I was a young, blah, 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 which is fine, but that's not, I feel like people just want to get the information, in a clear and concise way, and then get to work, doing it. So that's my philosophy is before I make a video, I say, okay, what value is the viewer going to receive? And then I structure everything else around that. But now I just think about it and I can do it. But at first I had to write it all out. But, yeah. Oh man, you are not kidding. Mr. Miles says, NorCal has the redwoods though. I'm not a spiritual person, but the redwoods are the closest I get. Oh man. Guys, yeah, I'm just talking about the people. The nature, the wildness of Northern California is without parallel. It is just amazing. The energy from the trees. I lived in a redwood grove, and the energy from the trees is absolutely beyond compare. It healed my life. I mean, I got very sick for some time, but then it healed me. It's still within me. That's what's coming out now. It's unbelievable. So, Kermudge says, being consistent with videos has HD us from 120 subs this time last year to over 1,000 in a year. That's right, my friend. Way to go. Good. Yeah, see, I've got two other channels my Thrive Like a Viking channel has got like 8,000 subs and it's like 4 years old, but I don't have any, I never stayed consistent with that. The thumbnails are all totally different. The topics are totally wildly different and stuff. And then my Travel Like a Viking channel, I didn't post on that channel for 2 years. Not a single video for 2 years. I just dumped a bunch of videos on there and then didn't post for 2 years, and so you can't expect channels to grow like that. So you have to stay consistent. That's why I came up with the thumbnail and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, guys, you know what? Something that's very helpful is if you are like your own boss, kind of like me, or like you have to motivate yourself. I have found this device has been super useful. You hit it, you can set the time to whatever time that you want. But I set it for 25 minutes and then you hit it and it counts down. I put it on the desk, and when I hit this thing, that's it. I'm not checking social medias, or I'm not responding to emails, or unless that's what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything else except exactly what my intended purpose is for 25 minutes. And I don't even get up from the computer or get up from whatever I'm doing for that time until it goes off. And then beep, 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 it goes off, boom. And then I hit it and I take like a 10-minute break. And then I come back and do it again. This has really boosted my productivity, definitely. And I know you say, we got a timer on our phone. It don't work on the phone, guys. You got to set that phone down. In my experience, it doesn't work on the phone for me. So having this thing is so easy, just beep, and it's set up for it. And so yeah, I think I put it in the Amazon storefront, but it's been very good for productivity. Because mentally you can say, okay, nothing else. There's all these other things you got to do that need done. Yes, but you got to focus on this for this 25 minutes. Wayne Caroli says the redwood roots are trying to find you in Indiana. Oh man, no joke. No joke, man. I spent so much time with those redwoods, and some of them have been struck by lightning, and so they've got the interior is like hollowed out, but the tree is still hundreds of feet tall and just as big around as the living room. And I would just go inside. Oh man, yeah. So the Ben T says, found a couple of Tahitian butternut squash going bad in the basement this morning. Yeah, that can happen. That means that they probably didn't get cured quite enough, but that can just happen as well. But I mean, we're 6 months or 5 months or 4, however many months we are from it. But you'll see many of them will last until next harvest season. It's crazy. But typically that's because they weren't quite cured right. Yes, Pilar, Pomodoro method. Yes, that is what we do. Mommy's Little Garden says, what videos do you have coming up for Garden Like a Viking? That is going to be, well, I've got several different ideas, but there's tons of videos coming up this season. But the most immediate ones are going to be what exact plants and varieties if you have a small garden. Because the last video was about having a food security type garden with the focus on calories and food security. This one's going to be like a small kitchen garden because a lot of you guys have got real small gardens. And so growing sweet potatoes and potatoes isn't necessarily the best use of it because those can be bought for quite cheap, at the market and stuff. And they're not the best things to have fresh. And so I will go over a list of things that are ideal if you've got limited space. You want to grow them high value things and the things that are best fresh, yeah, like summer savory. So that will be one of them. And then after that will be 5 seed starting mistakes, top 5 seed starting mistakes. With number 6 being you haven't watched my masterclass on seed starting. So maybe I should make another one. For some reason, some videos just don't take off. I don't know why, even though I think that one is of vital importance. Hello, Ben. Mr. Miles says, I'm curious, what on earth could pull you away from a redwood grove? I don't think I'd ever leave. Yeah, I know. And if the whole economy and the whole way of life didn't collapse out there, I would still be there for sure. But I probably would actually be dead, if I'm being honest with it. So it all happened righteously. So yeah, it took a lot to get me away. Yes, Scott Miller, that's right. Says sweet onion sets arrive this week. Vidalia, but don't store well. Getting on the Yellow of Parma train for food security storage. That's right. Definitely. The Vidalia sets, those will be for fresh eating over the summer. But the Yellow of Parma will be for storage. I still got tons of them in the basement. Yes, Mr. Miles says, I live in an apartment right now and no fencing for what little yard I have. Having a garden is a challenge. Well, there's still things that you can do. Definitely. But the things you do grow, you want them to be the highest value possible. Graham, hello, my Irish friend, says, hi, Nate. I've been listening. What about an FPJ video? I see too many different ways online. Definitely there's an FPJ video coming. Definitely. But that won't be until the actual spring, until the very beginning of the spring, because it's very important that you get the first local hardy things, the first things that are sprouting. And we're only going to, well, I'll save it for the video. But because we're trying to capture basically the growth hormone and enzymes, but the growth hormone auxin is one of the main ones. And so we're trying to extract that with osmotic pressure. So yes, the FPJ will be one, but it's not time for that yet. Although it may be for some places, but I'll make it as early as possible. Yes. And Regina says, bought my yellow of Parma seeds yesterday. Yes. I just ordered the seeds that I'm ordering. I mean, most of them I have myself, but I just ordered the seeds, my onion seeds even, like 2 days ago. So you're not behind or anything like that. You got plenty of time. So, okay. Well, look at the time. All right, guys. Well, it's been real. Check out the Travel Like a Viking video that I put in the link is in the description. Leave a comment. Any of those videos that you watch, guys, leave a comment. It helps to grow the channel. Also, Thrive Like a Viking every Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We do it live. And this Monday, we're going to be doing chapter 4 of this book, The Power of Now, which is a fantastic book. So you can get ready for that. And guys, I just wanted to say here, look, now is the time to, so see the your houseplants like your pothos and your philodendrons and stuff, you see how they are putting down the roots. They haven't even begun to trail to vine yet. This is because they want to set the roots and find out how big the environment is. So you want to keep them actually in a smaller container at first. You see, these are almost ready to be transplanted. But if you just put them immediately into a large container like this, see, these have been growing in here for like 6 months and they haven't even begun to vine yet. Because what's been happening is they will fill whatever space you put them in. Before they start to vine, they will fill the space with roots. So that's why it's still very healthy and bursting with life. But this whole thing is now full of roots. So once it starts to vine, they are going to just grow like crazy. They're going to grow like crazy. That's how I got all these 35-foot vines and all that stuff around here. So just wanted to say that about the pothos, is that they will check out their environment. Yeah. So, okay, guys, we will be right here every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern time. And I will see you later. Graham says, how often do you change the water for the pothos? And do you add anything? I only change the water when it evaporates. I don't really even change it. I just add more. So, okay, my friends. Oh my goodness. There's filters now. I can do a filter on the live stream? Look at this. Wow. That's a great looking filter, actually. Uh-oh. See all these new options. What is going on? What am I doing? Where's the off button? What do you think? What do you think about this? Okay. Ooh, what about this one? This is kind of ridiculous, guys. Oh, good. This is a little sketchy. Are you seeing this? Are you guys seeing this? I'm using my iPad. That's kind of crazy, huh? Whoa! Look at that! Wow, that's crazy. Okay. Yeah. So, bubbles. But now I don't know how to get out of this. Okay. Oh, this is dance party. Okay, my friends. See you later.